The Empire State is blessed with more wonderful scenic water attractions than any other section of the country. They include two great lakes, Lake Champlain, the Finger Lakes, and hundreds of others. Then there's Niagara Falls, the Thousand Islands, Long Island Sound, and the Atlantic Ocean. Our film is the story of the majestic Hudson River, a sporting water highway that has its source in the northeast corner of the state, high in the Adirondack Mountains. The highest point in New York State is Mount Marcy, 5,344 feet elevation. It's a fine observation point for ranger and climber. And as they descend, they get a bird's eye view of Lake Tear of the Clouds, the source of the Hudson River. The small pond nestles snugly in the side of Marcy, about 1,000 feet below the summit. From this mountain pond, we'll follow its course 300 miles to sea. First, a small mountain brook. A little farther, our baby Hudson takes its first big step and gracefully spills over Spearfish Falls. In the lower Adirondacks, it has become of age and is a good-sized rushing stream. Near Troy, it's a full-grown navigable river and the most important water highway in eastern United States. At the capital city of Albany, 300 outboard adventurers are off on the annual Hudson Race to Manhattan. This grueling marathon of 140 miles is the largest outboard race in the world. Hundreds try, but relatively few finish. It's an orgy of roaring motors and endless bumps. A driver has to average about 40 miles per hour to keep in the race, and all the time battle tides and currents. It's a rugged test of stamina and driving skill. Halfway down, the leaders are so far out in front it hardly looks like a race. But this beautiful straight stretch of river near Poughkeepsie is famous for another type of sporting craft, crew racing. Here, annually, the championship intercollegiate rowing races are held. The huge letters painted on the rocky shores are symbolic of winning college crews. Every June, about 350 oarsmen representing crews of a dozen or more colleges gather here 2 weeks prior to the regatta to study tides and currents and to practice long hours for the championship. For one day, Poughkeepsie is the biggest college town in America. They finish below the bridge, and we resume our downstream cruise. The Hudson is navigable all the way up to Albany, so cargo vessels from the world's ports pass you up as you pass down. Below Newburgh on the west shore is famous Storm King Mountain with the scar of its motor highway halfway up its precipitous side. Below, a smoky freight train winds along like a dark serpent. That's Sugarloaf Mountain, in olden days a river beacon for skippers of sailing schooners. The New York Central's rails follow both banks of the river. The east shore is the main line, and modern streamliners flash by like miniature trains of a boy's dream world. Stories of revolutionary times reflect at every turn as we near West Point. It was here that George Washington stretched an iron chain across the river to stop British warships. Some of the buildings of the U.S. Military Academy border right on the river's edge. Just below West Point, the famed Bear Mountain Suspension Bridge spans the river for the benefit of millions of New Yorkers seeking outdoor recreation at this famous park. Below Peekskill, the river widens into what the early Dutch settlers called the Tappan Zee. On this expansive river, 15 miles long and 5 miles wide, sailing is the sport. Communities on both sides support yacht clubs. The group underway is a class of lightnings from the Ossining Club. Yes, our Hudson plays host to every type of sporting craft, and sailing runs a close second in popularity. Below the Palisades, the Englewood Yacht Basin harbors a fleet of power cruisers that stage an annual 10-mile free-for-all, which certainly churns up the river. Canoeists race with double-bladed paddles in midstream right off the shore of Upper Manhattan. These sturdy lads are from the Englewood Racing Canoe Club. The Hudson here is a great river, almost 2 miles wide, and canoeing is only safe for the expert. The Dayline side-wheeler glorifies the name of Robert Fulton, inventor of the world's first steamboat, which had its trial run right here on the Hudson. This little Swiss Family Robinson isn't the least bit shipwrecked, and the adventure is just a Sunday outing, especially for the little lady in the bow. New York City's only Hudson span is the giant $75 million George Washington Bridge, connecting Upper Manhattan with New Jersey suburbs. Motor traffic going up the Hudson Valley skirts the river on the West Side Highway. Here's the river's top speedboat classic, the Harwood Trophy Race around Manhattan Island. 28 nautical miles of marine madness in less than 28 minutes elapsed time. Started in 1912, this is one of America's oldest motorboat races, with varied classifications for runabouts, speedboats, and hydroplanes. Dodging traffic and driftwood is a sporting thrill. Here comes, or there goes, popular Guy Lombardo piloting Miss Tempo. Each craft races against time, so we'll let them pass and proceed down our marine highway to view lower Manhattan from the Jersey Piers. Cargoes from the world ports enter our famous river at this point. Miss Liberty welcomes the arrival and bids farewell to more ships and more tonnage than enters any other port in the world. Poking her nose downstream for her shuttle race across the Atlantic is the mighty Queen Elizabeth, queen of the superliners, largest ship in the world. Stern of our we glimpse the battery's famous skyline, a visual American trademark progress. 300 miles from where we started, our downstream highway goes to sea.